Hi, all. It's Jan of the Jan Files. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will help me grow, which is really important. So I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to try to make this as short as I can. I just made another version of this, and it was much too long. So first things first. James Comey has been indicted literally for posting a picture of a shell collection, well, not collection, but shell writing on a beach that said 8647. I was a waitress. I was a bartender. I managed restaurants. I've done, other than cook, I've probably done everything in a restaurant. 86 means it's off the menu. It means I don't have that kind of, we don't have that dish anymore. We don't have that wine anymore. It's just literally saying to the staff that we don't have this anymore. That's what 86 means. So when you walk out of the kitchen, say 86, the spinach salad, period. It has nothing to do with killing anything. It just means it's no longer available. That's all it means. And for the Justice Department to actually indict Comey for this, who I have no regard for, no whatever, it doesn't matter that my opinion of him. He should not be charged with this. This is ludicrous. And it just shows how low Todd Blanche is going and willing to go. He's willing to go on his knees. He's willing to go on his belly. He's willing to do anything to please his master. And so that's how I believe we should be framing this. We should be seeing, images of Blanche on his knees, looking up to Trump, asking for deliverance, because that's exactly what is happening to Blanche and the DOJ, who have no integrity on any goddamn level. So let's move to Epstein, because there are some really interesting developments. Katie Fang has filed a lawsuit against the DOJ because they have not fulfilled their obligation to release the files of release the Epstein files. Now, it's interesting because she is saying she has standing in this case because she is a journalist who relies on this kind of information to make a living. So in other words, she's saying, I can't do my job because they haven't released the files. Now, I really am impressed by her. She's really smart. NBC let her go, which I knew when they did that, I really knew they were fucked, because she is really good, and she's always been somebody who's called it out. And while the anchor or somebody else might kind of like move away from her or not respond, she is always, her integrity and authenticity is in place. So stay tuned for that, folks. The second thing that's happening is that as of today, gotta look at my notes. What's it called? The Government Accountability Office, the senators of the Senate, obviously, a bipartisan group, asked them to investigate the Epstein files and whether their treatment of the files, the redactions, the lack of redactions, have served to cover up child sexual abuse. So that is a new investigation that started, was announced today. And so this and the other one that was announced last week about the Inspector General doing an investigation, the Inspector General of the DOJ doing an investigation. Both these investigations will end up with public reports. Now, those reports don't automatically lead to any kind of indictment or charges or anything like that. But they can be pivotal in that kind of indictment or impeachment or whatever. And obviously we know that this DOJ is going to do nothing to prosecute anybody in regard to pedophilia in terms of the Epstein files. So but those reports are important because they will go out to the public. And so while it's not what we're looking for in terms of charges and people being held accountable for the abuse of young women and young boys, it is still a good thing that it's happening. And the final thing, which I just heard or read, and I haven't had a chance to do a deep dive, is that the New Mexico investigation is not only ongoing but expanding. And so stay tuned, because I don't want to say more than that because I don't have all the facts about that. But stay tuned, because all of those three developments are important. And so when you talk about or when you post about Epstein files, it's really, we have to start filling in some of the holes for people. And what I mean by that is if we keep saying just release the Epstein files, I think that kind of starting to fall on deaf ears. We need to provide more information, which I think is really important. And finally, I'm going to talk tonight, just unfortunately, because it's late and I don't want these videos to go too long, is what is happening to the children of the United States on two levels. One, obviously, the cuts to SNAP that were articulated in the OBB, which is it used to be the big, beautiful bill, but now I can't remember how they changed it. It's the same fucking bill, but it's, that's the new name for it. They cut SNAP back. So that has left hundreds of thousands of kids with food insecurity. But they also, one of the other things that has been a mission of this administration is to destroy the Department of Education. And I'm just going to give you just a little piece of what that looks like. They have ended, until the courts just told them that they have to reinstate the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Education, because they had gutted it, literally gutted it. It basically didn't exist anymore. All those people were fired. And so, but now they're having to rehire. But this division deals with parents and helps parents with, a lot of it is primarily disabled kids that need special education, kids that are autistic, kids that have physical disabilities, kids that have mental disability. I mean, there's all kinds of things. And schools have an obligation, a legal obligation, to make sure that they're taking care of those kids. You don't get just to say, oh, well, because your kid is this, they don't get to go to our school. That's not the way that works, folks, because you pay taxes. You pay taxes, and you pay a lot in taxes. So that means that your kid gets to be supported. And so what they did was gutted, so that there were, let me just say, they literally, from March 2025 to September 2025, there were 9,000 cases. They dismissed 7,000 of those cases, 90%, without even investigating them. Think about that. Without even investigating them. And Chris Murphy said in front of he was questioning Linda McMahon, who is the WWE World, you can't make this shit up. The World Wrestling Entertainment, whatever it stands for, is the head of the Department of Education. She has got nothing about education in her background. She's not an educator. She has no knowledge, and yet she is head of it. And for what? Because she doesn't need the goddamn money. So this is just about power. This is pure power. And the fact is, she is destroying, if she hasn't destroyed, the Department of Education, which she has no legal right to do so because it is under Congress. But because the Republicans don't do shit, they're allowing her and many other departments to be destroyed. So in this case, though, understand, when you talk to people or you spread things out to the MAGA, it's like, there are a lot of autistic kids, folks. There are a lot of disabled kids, and they're not just Democrat. They're not Democrat or Republican. They're kids. And so it is pivotal that we make sure that this kind of information is going out. They literally gutted this department, and then the courts came in and said, no, you can't do this. And so they're rehiring some of the people they fired. In the meantime, however, kids and families are suffering. So I think this is a really important point, something that we need to, with all the shit that's going on, but this one is important, and this one is really, I believe, important to talk about. So that's what I got to say tonight. It's late and whatever, but I really felt a need to come on and talk about this. Stay tuned, stay focused, stay safe, and please subscribe. Thank you.